January 14th, 1937. Today Jesus entered my room wearing a bright robe and girded with a golden belt. His whole figure resplendent with great majesty. He said, "My daughter, why are you giving in to thoughts of fear?" I answered, "O Lord, you know why." And he said, "Why? This work frightens me. You know that I am incapable of carrying it out." And he said, "Why? You see very well that I am not in good health, that I have no education, that I have no money, that I am an abyss of misery, that I fear contacts with people. Jesus, I desire only you. You can release me from this." And the Lord said to me, "My daughter, what you have said is true. You are very miserable, and it pleased me to carry out this work of mercy precisely through you, who are nothing but misery itself. Do not fear, I will not leave you alone. Do whatever you can in this matter. I will accomplish everything that is lacking in you. You know what is within your power to do. Do that." The Lord looked into the depths of my being with great kindness. I thought I would die for joy under that gaze. The Lord disappeared, and joy, strength, and power to act remained in my soul. But I was surprised that the Lord did not want to release me, and that He is not changing anything. He has once said, and despite all these joys, there is always a shadow of sorrow. I see that love and sorrow go hand in hand. I rarely have such visions, but I more often commune with the Lord in a more profound manner. My senses sleep, and although not in a visible way, all things become more real and clearer to me than if I saw them with my eyes. My intellect learns more in one moment than during long years of thinking and meditation, both as regards the essence of God and as regards revealed truths, and also as regard the knowledge of my own misery. Nothing disturbs my union with the Lord, neither conversation with others nor any duties. Even if I am to go about settling very important matters, this does not disturb me. My spirit is with God, and my interior being is filled with God, so I do not look for Him outside myself. He, the Lord, penetrates my soul just as a ray from the sun penetrates clear glass. When I was enclosed in my mother's womb, I was not so closely united with her as I am with God. There it was unawareness, but here it is the fullness of reality and the consciousness of union. My visions are purely interior, but the more I understand them, the less I am able to express them in words. Oh, how beautiful is the world of the Spirit, and so real that, by comparison, the exterior life is just a vain illusion and powerlessness. Jesus, give me the strength and wisdom to get through this terrible wilderness, that my heart may bear patiently this longing for you, O my Lord. I always remain in holy amazement when I sense that you are approaching me, you the Lord of the awesome throne, that you descend to this miserable exile and visit this poor beggar who has nothing but misery. I do not know how to entertain you, my royal prince, but you know that I love you with every beat of my heart. I see how you lower yourself, but nevertheless our majesty does not diminish in my eyes. I know that you love me with the love of a bridegroom, and that is enough for me, although we are separated by a great chasm, for you are the Creator and I am your creature. Nevertheless, love alone explains our union. Without it, all is incomprehensible. Only love makes it possible to understand these incomprehensible intimacies with which you visit me. O Jesus, your greatness terrifies me, and I would be in constant astonishment and fear if you yourself did not set me at peace. You make me capable of communing with you before each approach. January 15th, 1937. Sorrow will not establish itself in a heart which loves the will of God. My heart, longing for God, feels the whole misery of exile. I keep going forward bravely, though my feet become wounded, to my homeland, and on the way I nourish myself on the will of God. It is my food. Help me, happy inhabitants of the heavenly homeland, so that your sister may not falter on the way. Although the desert is fearful, I walk with lifted head and eyes fixed on the sun, that is to say, on the merciful heart of Jesus. January 19th, 1937. My life at present flows on in a peaceful awareness of God. My silent soul lives on him, and this conscious life of God in my soul is for me a source of happiness and strength. I do not look for happiness outside the depths of my soul, in which God dwells. Of this I am aware. I feel a certain need to share myself with others. I have discovered a fountain of happiness in my soul, and it is God. Oh my God, I see that everything that surrounds me is filled with God, and most of all my own soul, which is adorned with the grace of God. Already now I will begin to live on that on which I shall live for all eternity. Silence is so powerful a language that it reaches the throne of the living God. Silence is his language, though secret, yet living and powerful. Jesus, you have given me to know and understand in what a soul's greatness consists, not in great deeds, but in great love. Love has its worth, and it confers greatness on all our deeds. Although our actions are small and ordinary in themselves, because of love they become great and powerful before God. Love is a mystery that transforms everything it touches into things beautiful and pleasing to God. The love of God makes a soul free. She is like a queen. She knows no slavish compulsion. She sets about everything with great freedom of soul, because the love which dwells in her incites her to action. Everything that surrounds her makes her know that only God himself is worthy of her love. A soul in love with God and immersed in him approaches her duties with the same dispositions as she does Holy Communion, and carries out the simplest task with great care. Under the loving gaze of God, she is not troubled if, after some time, something turns out to be less successful. She remains calm, because at the time of the action she had done what was in her power. When it happens that the living presence of God, which she enjoys almost constantly, leaves her, she then tries to continue living in lively faith. Her soul understands that there are periods of rest and periods of battle. Through her will, she is always with God. Her soul, like a knight, is well trained in battle. From afar it sees where the foe is hiding and is ready for battle. She knows she is not alone. God is her strength. January 21st, 1937. Since early morning today, I have been wondrously united with the Lord. In the evening, the hospital chaplain visited me. After we had talked for a while, I felt my spirit beginning to immerse itself in God, and I began to lose all sense of what was happening around me. I ardently implored Jesus, give me the ability to talk, and the Lord granted that I could talk freely with him, but there was a moment when I could not understand what the priest was saying. I heard his voice, but it was impossible for me to understand him, and I apologized for not understanding him, although I could hear his voice. This is a moment of the grace of union with God, but imperfect, because exteriorly the senses are acting imperfectly too. There is no total immersion in God, that is, suspension of the senses, as often happens when one neither sees nor hears anything exteriorly, the whole soul being freely absorbed in God. When such a grace visits me, I want to be alone, and I ask Jesus to protect me from the eyes of creatures. I was really very embarrassed before the priest, but I was reassured because he got to know a little of my soul in confession. Today the Lord gave me to know in spirit about the convent of Divine Mercy. I saw a great spirit in this convent, but everything was poor and very scanty. O my Jesus, you are allowing me to live in spirit with these souls, but perhaps I shall never set foot there. But may your name be blessed, and whatever you have intended, may it be done. January 22nd, 1937. Today is Friday. My soul is in a sea of suffering. Sinners have taken everything away from me, but that is all right. I have given everything away for their sake, that they might know that you are good and infinitely merciful. I shall be faithful to you, come rain or shine. Today the doctor decided that I am not to go to Mass, but only to Holy Communion. I wanted very much to assist at Mass, but my confessor, in agreement with the doctor, told me to obey. It is God's will, sister, that you should get well, and you must not undertake mortifications of any kind. Be obedient, sister, and God will reward you for it. I felt that the confessor's words were Jesus' words, and although it made me sad to miss Holy Mass, during which God had been granting me the grace of seeing the infant Jesus, Nevertheless, I placed obedience above everything else. I became absorbed in prayer and said my penance. Then I suddenly saw the Lord, who said to me, "My daughter, know that you give me greater glory by a single act of obedience than by long prayers and mortifications. Oh, how good it is to live under obedience, to live conscious of the fact that everything I do is pleasing to God."